I don't understand why we would invest so much emotion into it.
Because you say you focus on the athlete, it's affecting the athlete. If it didn't affect the son, they wouldn't have come out in their press conference and talked about the things that they have seen and heard during this playoff series. That's what I'm saying. Kathy Engelberg could have said something. Her silence was louder.
What does that change? What does that change, Samaria? What if somebody saying something change?
I'm just saying it shows the athletes that the woman at the top, the commissioner, is against all of this. She didn't say anything.
Welcome back to another episode of The Fumble. I'm your guy, Rodney Rikai. Samaria Terry has the shoulders out. That means she is ready for action. What's up, sis? How you feeling?
I feel good. I'm trying to figure out why it's still hot outside. How's it feel in LA?
LA is good. Today is especially beautiful. I got a project that dropped today with Keith Powers, Coco Jones, and Queen Latifah. I'm excited. It's like a real good celebratory moment for me. So I'm floating on cloud 9. Don't you bring my spirit and my energy down, or we gonna have a problem. Okay? All right. Let's get into the fumble.
Matthew Sluka, the UNLV quarterback, is leaving the program after he says he wasn't paid $100,000 that was owed to him. According to Sluka's agent, the verbal agreement was offered by an assistant coach in the program. Sluka says that he's only received $3,000 of that NIL deal and has made multiple attempts to work with the university to get the remaining funds. So UNLV put out a statement saying essentially that he threatened them. And it said, quote, UNLV athletics interpreted these demands as a violation of the NCAA pay-for-play rules as well as Nevada state law, end quote. Now, in 3 games, Sluka threw for 318 yards, 3 touchdowns, 1 interception, rushing for another 253 and a score. The Rebels are undefeated right now. Rodney, do you feel like Sluka made the best decision for his future?
If he wants to become an agent, absolutely. If he wants to be a football player, not so much. I feel like, in football locker rooms, loyalty is everything. You have to be a leader of men, especially at the quarterback position. When you abandon your guys for a reason such as this. Now, I understand, like in the NFL, there are holdouts. This is very different. To start a season and then try to negotiate, I think is going to leave a bad taste in a lot of people's mouths. But I kind of commend it, though. I respect it. I honor it. If the man feels like he's been slighted and shorted, and he's trying to do whatever he can to secure his future, his family's future, then rock on. But this is going to be an interesting thing to see play out. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I definitely feel like they kind of called each other's bluffs on this. Like, I'm sure they've been, behind the scenes trying to work on this. You got to get stuff in writing. That's the first thing. You got to get it in writing. And it does suck because I do feel like he's quitting on his team. I hadn't heard of Matthew Sluka, but I'm sure moving forward, we would have heard of them because they have been playing so well. They could have made it into the college football playoffs at the rate that they were going in the conference that they're in. I mean, he's probably, though, not going to make it to the NFL. And so in his mind, he's like, I have to get my money on the front end. They also had another running back that just up and left. He said it had nothing to do with NIL because he hadn't received a dime from them. So I don't know what UNLV and Barry Odom are doing down there, but don't offer nobody no money and don't do it. I feel like it was I think it was Bomani Jones. He was just on something talking about how he felt like it was better when people was getting paid under the table because you was getting your money.
Yeah. There's so many people trying to figure out the loopholes. We talked about this recently. This is still an evolving business format and formula, right? So this is we're in a bubble right now. At some point, it's gonna pop, and things will be a little bit smoother, I feel like. But this is an interesting case because I'm wondering if there are going to be players who have incentivized NIL deals. Right? Like if you hit a bowl game, if you win X amount of games, score X amount of touchdowns, do you get paid more or less? Because NFL contracts and professional athlete contracts are structured in that way. So for Sluka and other players in collegiate sports, it's going to be interesting to see if this is the first domino that will create somewhat of a huge change in incentivized NIL for players who are hitting certain benchmarks. The guy feels like I'm leading a program that has been desolate and irrelevant to a high level of success. I need to be compensated and paid in an adequate manner. I'm out here risking my life. I'm out here not being able to have a normal collegiate experience. I can't party, can't hang out, right? Their schedules are so strict, risking his body. So yeah, I need to be paid if people are out here getting paid, especially when I'm performing far better than most other quarterbacks in the nation.
Yeah, definitely feel like it's going to be a stain on that program because people are leaving now. And again, get it in writing. I am curious, though, to see how it's going to affect Sluka's career. Is he going to be able to go to a top program if they feel like maybe he's drama, or maybe he's going to just up and leave if he's not getting what he's asking for or something like that? So I hope that doesn't affect him in the long run, but I do feel like it's going to affect UNLV because guys are not going to come there if y'all are offering people money and then you don't get it.
The one thing I know about sports is if you're talented, there's always a position for you. We just saw Kareem Hunt get brought back to the Kansas City Chiefs this week. So it doesn't matter what you really do off the field. As long as on the field you're able to produce, which Sluka was doing, there'll be a program out there that's going to welcome him with open arms and make sure they have a nice big fat check waiting on him. Because now his brand is even bigger because of this. Now people are going to want to follow those eyeballs. Eyeballs create marketing opportunities. And so he is, to be completely honest, he is a cash cow for a program that maybe is not a Power 5, but an up-and-coming program. You never know what this opportunity can do for Sluka and another university. Y'all let us know your thoughts in the comment section below. Did Matthew Sluka do what's best for him, or did he just put a huge dent in his athletic career? All right, let's switch gears and get into some hoops. We are less than a month away from the start of another NBA season, and without a doubt, one of the top storylines heading in is LeBron James teaming up with the fruit of his loins and second-round draft pick, Bronny James. Now, this will be the first time a father and son duo will share the court together in the NBA, and so Lakers and new head coach JJ Redick are formally in the planning stages of scripting out what that historic moment will look like for father and son. Yes, y'all, it is in fact a script. But nothing has been confirmed for the team as of yet. They are just trying to figure it all out. So, Samaria, my question is, if you had to cook up the dream scenario for the first time they played together, how would it all go down?
Okay, so if we're just speaking just hypothetically or just like, I don't know.
Yep.
Fantasy. I would want someone to get hurt, right? Somebody goes
Damn,
down.
Wait. Why somebody got to get injured?
Because I'm saying I want it to be like a big game. Somebody gets hurt, and then Bronny has to come in. This is
sorry,
good TV.
I didn't expect that.
Somebody. Oh, I knocked out my AirPod. Somebody gets hurt or they're sick or something. It has to be like mid-game. I don't know. Somebody gets sick. I don't know. Bronny has to come in, right? And he makes like the game-winning assist to LeBron. Okay. That would be like what I would want to see them share. Like it's a historic moment, but then it's also like a game-winning moment. However, I don't know if we're going to see it. And JJ Redick said that. I think that he's coming in, first-time head coach, and for a coveted program like the Los Angeles Lakers, he's worried about winning games at this point. He's not worried about making this historic moment, I don't think. Well, he probably shouldn't be. He shouldn't be. He needs to be worried about winning games, Rodney.
This is not the NFL. They have 80. They've been doing okay. They have 82 games in a season. This is not the NFL where one loss is gonna tank your season. All right, this is a historic moment for the Lakers, for LeBron. LeBron and JJ Redick, as you know, had a podcast, so they are friends or friendly at the very least, and so he will do everything that he can to create a moment that will be forever etched into LeBron James' memory, but also the rest of the world. This is something that nobody ever thought was even possible, and so he'll do everything that he can to make it as special as possible. For me, I think second quarter of maybe the opening season game, we see, maybe the Lakers are down a bit. They're looking for a little bit of juice or energy off the bench. And a 19-year-old young athletic Bronny James comes off the bench, kind of playing a Carlos Alvarado kind of role, playing full court defense, getting some dimes, getting into the lane, and then inevitably to help the Lakers take a 1-point lead going into the half, you got Bronny and Bron. They're going, down the sidelines, and Bronny throws a lob up to his pops. His pops dunks it, but Bronny does the D-Wade airplane pose out of bounds. To me, like visually, that's something that feels a little more realistic, and also nobody had to get hurt for that moment to happen.
Well, y'all let us know down in the comments.
Wait, how you think?
Because I ain't finna go back and forth. Y'all let us know down in the comments What do you think about this? When do you expect to see Bronny and LeBron make that historic moment as they share the court together? All right, the stage is set for the WNBA semifinals. The Aces facing off against the Liberty, and the Sun and the Lynx will battle it out in a best-of-5 series for a trip to the WNBA finals. Now, all 4 of these teams swept their opponents in the quarterfinals, but of course, the big story this week was the Indiana fever in their fan base. Sun forward Alyssa Thomas calling out Indiana fans for racial comments heard during the game and seen on social media. Now, is Indiana's fan base, Rodney, taking the shine away from their stellar and historic season?
Not at all. The Boston Celtics fan base is racist, and we saw the Boston Celtics win the championship, and it will not have any stain on the banner that they will hang in their arena. But I don't care about fans. I want to talk about Caitlin Clark. What a phenomenal way to end her season. She put up a stat line that no other rookie has in the history of the WNBA playoffs. She was absolutely incredible in that game. I wish that Kelsey Mitchell's shot was falling even a smidgen. She just played a really bad game, closing out. She had got an offensive rebound off of her own three-point miss and just threw the ball aimlessly, and that was the ball game. They had a chance to maybe take the lead or tie, and she just threw the ball away, and it was just a terrible ending. Caitlin Clark did not touch the ball nearly enough in the last minute and 30 seconds, in my estimation, which again is an indictment on Christy Size. While I acknowledge that she got better during the season, she reverted back to the Christy Size from earlier in the season, and so a tough loss for the Fever. They fought, they battled, but Caitlin Clark is absolutely sensational.
Yeah, no, I agree. And we definitely talked about Indiana taking on a team and giving them a run for their money. So they almost forced a game 3 in that series. But I will say, back to my initial question, I feel like it's causing a little bit of a stain. I feel like, because you have, like I said, AT coming out talking about the things that have been said. I know Dejanay is probably going to say something if she hasn't already. It just doesn't look good. So when you go on ESPN, that's what you're seeing. If you go on Twitter, you see some of the things that fans had, whether it was like the fingernails or other things or stuff that people are saying in the comments. I just feel like it's just reached a point, and obviously the WNBA then came out with their statement saying that they don't want any racism or bigotry and all of these things in their league. But I feel like it came out too late. And I think that's when we had the conversation a few weeks ago about Kathy Engelberg and her statement being very tone deaf. She could have said something then, but I think in her silence, she allowed, like it was like a dog whistle, she allowed these people to then continue on to do this. And then it reached a point in the quarterfinals where now they actually have to come out and make a statement. But I feel like it's a little too late.
Did she write the words that people sent on Twitter? Did she have a script that she gave people to say? So we have to stop acting like somebody saying something stops other people from doing whatever they want to do. There is racism in the world. This is a microcosm of our society. We live in a racist country, in a racist society. There are people who have hatred and vitriol for people who do not look and act and come from the same cultural background as themselves. This happens in the NBA. We hear about the Utah Jazz fans and the Boston Celtics fans and the Indiana Pacers fans. This is not some new trend, all right? This has always been going on. This takes place in collegiate sports. So acting as if somebody who has no real cultural relevance or important role within our society, acting as if their words are going to stop 400 years of hatred all of a sudden in its tracks is just, it's asinine. It's a conversation that really holds no value. I'd like to focus on the athletes as opposed to people who we do not know by name nor by face, and their stupid ass interactions on social media, which is not a barometer of the real world. It is not a true indicator of how people feel. People on the internet who have negative things to say are not the people that you and I shake hands with and give hugs to. So why do we give a about their opinions and their thoughts? I don't understand why we would invest so much emotion into it.
Because you say you focus on the athlete, it's affecting the athlete. If it didn't affect the Sun, they wouldn't have come out in their press conference and talked about the things that they have seen and heard during this playoff series. That's what I'm saying. Kathy Engelberg could have said something. Her silence was
What
louder.
does that change? What does that change, Samaria? What if somebody
shows,
saying something
but
changed?
I'm just saying it shows the athletes that the woman at the top, the commissioner, is against all of this. She didn't say anything.
I don't understand why we want to act as if the WNBA has not been the most progressive league in all of professional sports. We all know this. We all know this. This is not like, this is the most LGBTQIA plus league by far, right? The black athletes in the WNBA say any and everything that they feel, things that they're passionate about. They wear political t-shirts on the court, which is something that most other leagues would never allow. You try to rock a Kamala Harris t-shirt on an NFL field and see how fast they pull your ass up off.
Okay, well, I guess what I'm saying is that obviously the WNBA has a completely, its fan base has changed this season. It's a newer fan base. You got a lot more viewers watching the sport, a lot of different people watching the sport. They have seen stuff. The players are coming out and talking about how this season is different. It feels different. The things that are being said is different. And I feel like in any other sport, anytime we see anything, like I'm thinking about, like, I think it was Westbrook getting popcorn thrown at him, or maybe when Kyrie was talking about the racist things that was said to him in Boston, we are all on the athlete side. We're like, dang, that's messed up. I feel like it's kind of the opposite. Like, I don't feel like, and maybe the women in the WNBA don't necessarily feel like people are standing with them. More people kind of feel like, well, this is just what it is, and deal with it. And I feel like Kathy Engelberg was tone deaf in not standing up and saying we have no place for that then.
My thing is, even if she said something, Samaria, what does it change?
It changes the way that your athletes think about you. That's what I'm saying. It makes it feel like right now, maybe they don't feel like the league has their back when it comes to racism.
I can assure you that they are the first league to adopt the understanding that Black Lives Matter. I can assure you that they have been.
I'm not saying they don't, but I'm saying this season, Rodney, is different. You can't stand here and say that the level of vitriol that we've seen, we've never seen this before in the WNBA.
We don't have the ability to control how people feel and the vitriol that they spew. And statements saying, hey, you shouldn't spew hatred does not stop hatred. It's like saying, hey, you shouldn't kill unarmed black people. It still happens.
Okay. Well, yeah, you all let us know down in the comments. First, what do you think of the WNBA semifinals matchups? Who do you have winning it all? I'm going to say the Liberty. That's just me. And then also, you let us know what you think about the WNBA finally coming out with a statement saying that they have no place for racism and bigotry in their league. All right, folks, it's that time of the show where we bring in a guest to talk some game. And today we've got an absolute legend in the building. You know him as two-time heavyweight champion and one of the most feared knockout artists to ever step in the ring. Y'all give it up and say, let's go, champ, for Shannon Briggs. What's up, cousin?
Ooh, let's go, champ.
What's up, cousin? How you feeling, man? You good?
I'm really good, champ, man. Thank you for having me on the show. I really appreciate this. Thank you.
Man, we appreciate it. I see that shirt says the Ville, but that sunshine says Jersey. I just want to acknowledge where we are geographically speaking.
South Orange in the house. South Orange.
Hey, that's funny, man. You know what? I got some questions for you in regards to your Jersey tenure, especially because you were once featured on the Fugees album. We'll get into that in just a moment. Let's talk about boxing today. All right. For many people, Floyd Mayweather changed where it now seems like all boxers want to take the path that most helps them remain undefeated. Do you feel like boxers ducking risky fights is a result of Floyd's success, or has this always been the case?
There's always been a history of, fighters who choose the right fights. There's always going to be that, you know what I'm saying? And sometimes it's the right time, sometimes it's not, sometimes it's just styles make fights. So maybe a guy doesn't, you can't beat everybody, champ. Some people just, look how much problems Muhammad Ali had with Ken Norton. He couldn't do nothing with Ken Norton. Other people went in there and did Ken Norton filthy, you know what I'm saying? Like, George Foreman, Jerry Cooney. A lot of people was like, give me Ken Norton. But Ali couldn't do nothing with him. You know what I'm saying? So it's sometimes like that. And, I think Floyd did the right thing for himself and his career. And look at him. He's still going, still able to perform, speak well, and make a living, as even doing exhibitions and all that.
You brought up Shakur Stevenson earlier, Shannon, and
Jersey, big Jersey, Nork in the building. What's up? My fault. Go ahead. My bad, Samaria.
and he's so vocal on social media. We covered him a couple of weeks ago when he got into it with Cameron and Mace. What do you make, though, of guys, these younger guys, kind of standing up for themselves on social media?
Yeah, it's just social media. Just talk, have fun, fight for yourself. Why not? You better talk your stuff, you know what I mean? And, that's good. Listen, as long as they talk about you, that's all that's important, right? At the end of the day, we see people do some atrocious things and still be able to campaign. And some people get, what's they call that? When they kind of like blacklist you, what they call it? I forgot, but it's a new term.
Blackball?
Nah, blackball is a new term for it. They call canceled.
Oh.
Canceled. Yeah, they call it canceled now. So once they get canceled, but you can come back, fight back, champ. You know what I'm saying? Fight back. That's my motto.
For sure. Speaking of people whose names are quite prevalent on the internet, man, you had the opportunity to train Logan Paul for his fight against KSI. He and his brother Jake Paul have made insane amounts of money by existing outside of the traditional realm of the sport. Do you think influencer boxing is helping or hurting the sport?
I think it helped big time. I'm one of the reasons you have it today. I'm not trying to pat myself on the back, but
go ahead.
I trained them. I trained both of them boys. I got them in the box. I thought it'd be great because I said, yo, they got a fan base. You know what I'm saying? And they introduced something to their fan base out of nowhere. And their fan base, not all of them at first was like, but they took to it. And look what they did for the sport of boxing. These guys have brought in millions of kids from all over the world. Literally, I've traveled in the last year or two to Saudi Arabia, England, Turkey, Uzbekistan, and everywhere I go, daily, kids come up to me and say, let's go, champ. Or they say, hey, you train Jake and Logan Paul. I'm 52,000 years old. I'm 52,000 years old. And I got kids who come up to me and say, hey, champ. Hey, what's up, champ? Oh, you train. I'm thinking, okay, they know me from boxing. They didn't even know I was a boxer. They're like, oh, you train Jake and Logan Paul. You know what I mean?
That's crazy. It's like the kids who don't know that like Ice-T was a rapper or Ice Cube was a rapper. At some point, that transition happens and people just know you for what you're currently doing. But what did you see in Jake and Logan Paul that even made you want to get invested? And do you feel like they can actually become true contenders?
Fans. I seen fans. And, like I said, some of your fans may say, oh, you try something different. It's like me. I start a cooking show right now. Which I've done in the past. I had a thing called In the Kitchen with the Champ many years, 12 years ago, and people was like, love it. And to this day, I still hear people say, yo, champ, do the videos in the kitchen when you had the music and you was making smoothies and all that. Go back to that. I'm like, maybe. But for instance, if I go to cooking, right, and some of my fans, my boxing fans are going to be like, I ain't messing with Shannon, he cooking now or whatever. But what if I blow up in cooking? What if my fans might not even know, some of them, that I was a boxer? You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So it's like some of your fans went with some of their fans went, but they got the whole world. Some of their
But hold on, Shannon, can Jake and Logan Paul be true contenders in the sport?
Not at this point, no, in my opinion.
Okay.
But I believe that had they continued on my plan, and I'm not trying to sound egotistic, and I'm keeping it real with you. I'm not. I had a plan, which was they took part of the plan. They're using part of which is fighting MMA guys. That's what I told them. I said, listen, you got to fight MMA guys. They got a bigger fan base, and they're gonna want to kick your butt. You know what I'm saying? And they're not really good at boxing. You know what I'm saying? They're good at wrestling. So I was like, that's the best way to build you. They were going that route. They got off. They went on for Tommy Fury. He got beat up pretty much. You know what I'm saying? That kind of messed it up. But could he have become a legit contender? Jake, yes. Had he, you know what I'm saying? And I'm not going to even say it's too late. I don't know. But I think that, again, I told y'all earlier, I think that what makes a champion and what's in the water is pain. You know what I'm saying? They ain't dealing with no pain. They ain't dealing with no pain. You know what I'm saying? So can you become a legit contender without that? It's highly unlikely. You know what I'm saying? If you rich, you got bread, this take you having missed meals, having seen your moms in bad position situations, and pain,
Growing up in Brownsville, you and Mike, I'm sure you and Mike, not even sure. I know that you and Mike had a really, really tough upbringing. So was making that transition into boxing, right? Becoming a full-grown adult man and now having perspective. Is that the reason why you started Future Champions? And tell us a little bit about that platform in which you're trying to have a school to educate the youth.
Yes, champ. Well, two things that happen simultaneously. I'm actually building a gym in Brownsville, Brooklyn. The address is 1750 Pickens Avenue, where this will be a boxing academy, where you can go learn to be a referee, a cut man, a cut woman, a timekeeper, sports commentator. You know what I mean? Everything in the sport of boxing. You know what I mean? Manager, promoter, all can be learned. Even concessions. You know what I'm saying? It's 15,000 square foot building, 3 floors. So my goal has always been, look, I knew everybody can't be a boxer, right? Everybody don't want to box. But if you knew how much referees make, how much they travel yearly, like I got a friend who's from Brooklyn, one of the best referees of today, Tony Weeks. He's from Brooklyn. He actually goes through 2-3 passports a year because he's doing shows everywhere. Imagine, you're a woman, you're in school, you become a nurse assistant or a nurse, and you say, you know what, I want to learn how to stop cuts. And then now here you are, you become a premier, or you're making money because every fighter every night needs a cut man or a cut woman. So this is a job. This is how I envision the academy, a trade school for boxing. But really, to be honest with you guys, think about the team. Think about the team. You're talking about a neighborhood that produced Mike Tyson, Riddick Bowe, Shannon Briggs, Curtis Stevens, Danny Jacobs, the great light heavyweight champion Eddie Mustafa Muhammad, Bruce Carrington, champ. This neighborhood breed, and we never had a gym. No gym. Mike Tyson, Riddick Bowe, and Shannon Briggs, no place in the world in this solar system has produced 3 heavyweight champions from the same neighborhood. Brownsville is 1.3 miles in size. It's the worst neighborhood in Brooklyn. It's the Bronx of New York, of Brooklyn. It's the entire Bronx in Brooklyn. It's our Bronx in Brooklyn. You get what I'm saying? So with that being said, I said to myself, yo, there's got to be something in the water. It's got to be something in the water that it can produce this lineage of champions, right? Of fighters with no gym. You know what I realized was in the water? I found out what was in the water. Pain. Pain. New York State, you got the Bloods, the Crips, you got this different gangs, GDs, and then you got Brownsville. Because they predominate most of the jails. It's everybody from Brownsville. In the women's jail and in the men's jail upstate. Right now, there's a prison, there's a jail on 3 blocks away from the gym. It's called Crossroads. And they have, right now, is at capacity and a 70% homicide rate in the prison. It's a juvenile jail 3 blocks from the gym. I'm trying to bring a program called From the Jail to the Gym to get these people in the jail to learn how to be promoters, managers. They instigators. If you're in a gang or you're in a crew and you're an instigator, you're a promoter. Instigate, promote. So you're a promoter.
That's Don King. That's the Don King formula, right?
Listen, I always say, I don't like to speak on the dead, but Don King committed 2 vicious crimes of unaliving people, and he became a billionaire. He went on to become a billionaire. He promoted the Jacksons, James Brown, the great Muhammad Ali, Mike Tyson, Larry Holmes. He is the greatest promoter that ever lived. The greatest promoter that ever lived in history is Don King. Say what you want. Entertainment-wise, the man did his thing. He promoted Michael Jackson. Get what I'm saying? So I'm saying that to say this. In the prisons, in at your lowest, boxing is the only thing that you could walk in and become a billionaire. Understand me? You can't go into the NFL and say, hey, I'm working here. I want to get a manager license. I want to get a team. You can't go to the NBA. You can't go to MLB. You can't go to no sport, MLS, soccer, and say, oh, you know what? I'm going to go online, get a license, and I'm a manager. Get online, I'm a promoter. Get online, I'm a trainer. Get whatever you can. Listen, for a trainer, all you got to do is get a bucket and a towel put the towel over your shoulder like so, and walk in with the bucket, and just sit down and just look around like this. Somebody gonna come over and say, "Hey, yo, hey champ, can you help? Can you tie my gloves?" And you're gonna say,
Yeah.
then somebody gonna say, "Hey, yo, if you looking at some kid hitting the bag and you do like this, you make a gesture like he's not doing good, he's gonna come over and ask you, hey, what do you think?" And that begins your career as a trainer. You could then that night somebody say, "Hey, I got called for a fight. Man, they just called me. Hey, that maybe can you help me? You never was nothing in boxing." And then you say, and now you in the corner of a guy going to the ring all because you pretended that you were somebody. I seen it happen 4 dozen times. So
Yeah, for sure. Hey, Shannon, man, we appreciate you so much for joining us on the Fumble. We appreciate your presence, your insight, your passion for all things. Thank you for joining us, family. So appreciative of you. Thank you.
And thank you, champ. You the champ. Let's go, champ.
Let's go, champ.
So excited
Let's go,
to see
champ.
what you got planned for future champions. And make sure you at home check out the Brownsville Boxing Academy. Both are doing big things for the next generation. Drop a comment below and let us know what you want to see next time on the Fumble. Let's go, champ.
All right, so I don't come from a family who has sport allegiances. My dad wasn't really into sports, and I didn't grow up around uncles or anything like that. The only person in my family that I could talk to about sports was my older cousin, Joe, and he was a huge Jerry Rice fan, so of course he was a 49ers fan. And for a while, they were my favorite team until Joe moved away to Maryland, and then I was stuck trying to find another cousin and also a new sports franchise. Growing up in Jersey, I landed on the Giants because the Jets have always been trash. And I had some great years of fandom with the New York Giants. I saw 2 Super Bowl victories over Tom Brady and the city of Boston because honestly, I mean, who wants to see the city of Boston win anything? Boston. That's how I feel. But over the last 8 years or so, it has been really challenging to deal with my relationship with the New York Football Giants. I wanted to cry when I saw them draft a quarterback from Duke to be the face of our franchise. Who the hell wants somebody from Duke being the face of an NFL franchise? Also, Duke, I'm a Carolina fan. While I was distraught at Daniel Jones being my quarterback, I at least had some level of peace because we had Saquon Barkley. Even though we got hurt every year because we haven't had an offensive line since Jamie Foxx's original hairline, I always was ecstatic that we had a guy who was a legit superstar in the league. But seeing how good Saquon has been this year for our rival Philadelphia Eagles is where I hop off the bus. I will not stand to be in a relationship this abusive anymore. We opted to pay bum-ass Daniel Jones and gave the division the best running back in the league because we didn't want to pay him. Malik Neighbors might already be a top 10 receiver in the league. Can you just imagine if he has Saquon Barkley at running back, man? I'm done. So if you or your team has any space for a die-easy fan who will abandon them for greener pastures at any given moment, please let me know because I am in search of a new team unless you're a Cowboys fan. It's the Cowboys too, if you didn't already know. The New York Giants, you are the fumble of the week for not retaining Saquon Barkley. Samaria, why did the Giants let Saquon go?
I don't know. And maybe they felt like it was for the best. We don't really know what conversations Saquon was having with front office or with his head coaches. Maybe he wanted a change of scenery as well. I'm not really sure. I was really devastated about that. It really reminds me of when the Titans let go of A.J. Brown. They traded him. And then it's just a ripple effect because here they drafted that same year. They drafted Treylon Burks out of Arkansas, and he's not been able to live up to AJ. And so when AJ has these breakout games, even including against the Titans, I think that was 2 years ago, and then they fired their general manager after that. It just, like I said, it's just a ripple effect. Like nobody's going to be able to come in. It's going to take a big running back to be able to come in New York and kind of fill those shoes. And everybody's going to always compare them to Saquon. Their offense would have looked a lot better. I hate it. I mean, I'm sorry for y'all. But, yeah, Saquon is killing it. And
it ain't y'all. Ain't no y'all no more. Ain't no more y'all. Who your team? I'm about to be on your team. That's what I'm rocking with.
I don't have
Wherever
a team.
you at. Oh, because you're a professional. I get it.
Yeah, I don't have a team. I just don't like
you gotta help me. You gotta help me find one, because right now it's rough, man. And the Giants have not, and admittedly, they have not been as bad this year as I expected them to be. Daniel Jones has actually been adequate.
Yeah.
Okay. He's been better than Deshaun Watson. I can say that definitively. But you know,
and they
Malik
just
Neighbors
played the Cowboys. But when this airs, they have played the Cowboys. I don't know.
If they're gonna win tonight is gonna let you know who's gonna come in last place in the division.
Mm-hmm.
So you know, I'm looking at Saquon every week in that Eagles uniform. Like, even through Jalen Hurts playing terrible, he is literally willing the Philadelphia Eagles to victories, and I'm just like, damn, bro, a little bit of an offensive line, and this guy could have been all world, yo. Could have been all world.
And it doesn't help that Washington actually looks good.
Yo, I'm sorry. We'll get out of here. Jaden Daniels is better than Caleb Williams. Did you see this? Did you see this happening? Did you see this coming? No, right?
But you know, I think that happens when the focus isn't on you. He's really just been kind of grinding. Everybody's been so focused on Caleb Williams and his fingernails. Nobody's been focused on Daniels. And so he's been able to, like I said, quietly put in the work. He's like, I'm just going to show y'all. I don't need all of this, because nobody. I promise you, we have not been focused on Jaden at all.
Jaden, not at all. He's gonna.
Nobody. We just thought they were going to be bad. Yeah.
Yeah, he's having like a CJ Stroud type effect on the Commanders, and it's phenomenal. Yeah. All my friends out in DC, they're excited. Congratulations, y'all! Y'all got a quarterback. I got Daniel Jones.
I mean, they could be Philadelphia, because Philadelphia really kind of.
They don't look good right now. They don't. The NFC East is up for grabs. And if I had to guess, well, I would say Jalen Hurts will probably get back on track at some point, but we'll see what happens, man. I'm just dejected that my Giants once again let go of a generational talent far too soon. Decided to pay Daniel Jones. Gave Daniel Jones a big contract. Y'all let us know your thoughts in the comments section. Do you agree with the Giants?
Also, when I was talking about the trickle effect, it has affected, I think, Daniel. It could affect his confidence, because I'm sure you've seen the video, like the fans upset or yelling things at him as he walked to his car about his new contract. Yeah. So I think it's just like a trickle effect. Like, fans are upset about it. They're booing him in the games. That can't be good for morale.
Yeah, it's not. But he always looks like a sad boy. He just has that perpetual like sad boy look in his eyes. But y'all let us know your thoughts in the comments section. Are you saddened as much as I am about the Giants letting go of Saquon Book and gifting him to the Philadelphia Eagles? Let us know your thoughts in the comments section below.
So thank you all for joining us for another great episode of The Fumble. Make sure to subscribe to The Fumble and at The Fumble Sports on all of our social media platforms. Of course, we deliver the latest in sports every day on our YouTube page with our girl Jackie Ray, and then every Friday right here at The Fumble with myself and my co-host Rodney Rikai.
Yes. I don't care if we argue. We can argue. We can hate each other in a moment. We're going to get back on track. Don't you worry about it. Yeah.